Picture on the screen. And I wanted a handheld, if we could do that. Oh, it's right here. All right. Can you see the picture? That's a pond at our house. And if you go out and scoop some of that, you can see that it's the end of the summer and the water's not very clean. So if you go out there and take some water, and if you put a little drop on this piece of glass we call a microscope slide. In fact, I'll show you a picture of what that would look like. So the lab tech is putting a drop. Can you see it on the glass? And you might not think of this, but the drop is kind of thick. And if you looked at it under the microscope, you couldn't see very well because it's a pile. So you put another little piece of glass on there, like that. Now you can't see the drop, but they're just showing you that other little piece of glass fits down on the drop, and what will it do to the drop? Spread it out. And when you look in the microscope then, now these are my daughters, we taught them at home, so we bought a microscope for them to do this. In fact, can you see the microscope slide right there? Can you kids see that? And can you see the little tiny square of glass that's on top of it? Can you see that? I'll back it up and do it again. There's their names. And there's the slide, like this, right? Like this. But if you look carefully at the end of this white arrow, it's right on the edge of a little square piece, like I was describing. And this is what you see when you look through the microscope. Most everything on that screen is living. It's alive. And they're wiggling. And sometimes they start swimming. Even when you're not looking at them, they'll be swimming. By the way, would somebody raise their hand and tell me what a miracle is? Want to try? Everybody's smiling at me, except this one, so we'll have her try. What's a miracle?
Miracle is something miraculous.
Could you hear her? She said a miracle is something miraculous. Was that a good answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want you to think about miracles with me today. You might not know this, but these little creatures you see on the screen are living. Living, we call them cells. Way too tiny to see without a microscope. They're actually alive. And you know what makes something alive? It's a miracle of God's power. Now there's lots of cells that make us up. There's cells for your eye. There's cells for your ear, your nose. There's cells to make your fingernails, cells to make your bones. And every one of them is alive, and scientists have no idea why. But it's a miracle. A miracle. So everyone in this room is a living miracle with about 10 trillion cells. Now, if the doctor wanted to test somebody's blood sugar, he might, or she might, little tiny prick, and you squeeze a little bit, and there's a drop of blood. Can you see it? See that drop of blood? And then you put that drop of blood on this same glass, and then you put the little square on top of it to do what? To squash it out so you can see the individual parts. And this is what you see. Now you watch my arrow here. I meant to make it large, but if you look carefully, this is a red blood cell. Can you adults see where I'm pointing? Yes. All right. These are all red blood cells. That's what that drop is full of. That little drop at the tip of the finger probably has a few million red blood cells. Not that many, but a few million. Now, something interesting in this picture. Notice where I'm pointing. You see that little squiggly thing there? Say yes? That's a germ. Now this guy here, I'm calling him a guy, this cell, it's actually a white blood cell. There's many kinds of white blood cells. But this one likes to chase down germs and eat them up. Do you think that's helpful? Have you ever had a cold?
Yes.
It's caused by germs.
I have.
You've had a cold too, and it's caused by germs. But if we take really good care of our bodies, these white blood cells, let me show you what they do. I'm going to show you a movie. He's going to chase that germ. Watch him. See him chasing the germ? And the germ is doing everything he can to get away from that big white blood cell. Can you see it? This is not made up. This is an actual picture on the microscope. And finally, that white blood cell just keeps going, and he whoops, what happened? He ate him up. Now that person will not get sick. You understand? All through your bodies. Oh, you can't go anywhere, but you'll find a whole bunch of white blood cells. Now this is a special kind of white blood cell, but you'll find them. And it's a little bit like Jesus taught people that they should worship their Heavenly Father. He actually taught them to worship Him, if you think about it. And part of that worshiping is to take care of our bodies, right? And those white blood cells usually keep us well. Listen, without those white blood cells, we'd all die very quickly. It's amazing how God takes us. Now I want to do one other thing with you before you go. In a moment, you're going to take these baskets, and people are going to put some money in them. You know what the money's for?
The mission.
Goes to the mission field, where we have a place where young people that have no parents can be there and taken care of. So when you walk up to somebody and they put money in here, what should you do?
Say thank you.
You should smile and say thank you. Will you do that today?
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget. All right. You each get one of these baskets and begin your offering. I'm watching for the children to smile and say thank you. And then I want the children to come back. When you come back up here to bring your baskets. There's still some people holding up money. Come right on up front. Put your basket there by the step, and then I have something to give to you. I have a piece of paper with some words on it, and every time you hear one of those words in the sermon, you put a mark. And if you do a careful job, and Mrs. Brackett sees that you got them right, she has something for you. Now, I don't want you to eat what she has in the church. Otherwise, what might happen?
Get the church drink.
You'd get crumbs all over the place, right? And if your mommy and daddy don't have a pen or a pencil for you, Mrs. Brackett has some extras. So your mom and daddy will help you. Every time a word is used, you make a mark. And we'll see at the end if you got them right, okay? And you surely don't want to miss what Mrs. Brackett has fixed for you, right? Okay, go back to your parents, please.